Whiskey pro tip. If you like whiskey, do not spend a month in Egypt. It's really hard to get whiskey there. There's a couple of brands, but they're Egyptian brands and they're labeled red and black, like Johnny Walker, but they're not. And well, we just got back from a month there. And thankfully, at the Larnaca airport, they had a duty-free shop. So the minute I got onto Cyprus soil, I bought some whiskey, and I can actually give you whiskey reviews now. So let's do this. Welcome to Whisky Riffs. If you're new here, I'm Kevin. If you're not new here, thank you so much for sticking around. I appreciate you waiting for another review. It was really hard when we were in Cairo and Luxor and even our short time in Aswan. There was very little whiskey to be had in Egypt, and it really isn't designed to have any alcohol at all. So I had to kind of take a break. I did think briefly about reviewing one of the cheap red and black brands of whiskey, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. Let me know in the comments if you think I made a mistake, but that's all behind me because I'm in Paphos now. I have whiskey, actually bought 2 bottles at the duty-free shop, and I found there's whiskey shops around this actual city, even in the little area we are near the waterfront. So I think I'll be able to give you more than a couple reviews from actually in Cyprus, and I'm looking forward to those. I'm especially looking forward to this one because I am a Glenmorangie fan. Now, I did try this whiskey already because actually I recorded an episode already. Turns out I had the camera set wrong. There was zero focus and it looked horrible. So this is a redux of that. My first tasting of this whiskey didn't go as I planned. So let me see what we got today and break out the bottle. Maybe it'll taste better second time around. I do have to say, it's been a long time since I've had whiskey on a day-to-day basis. This bottle is a 12-year Glenmorangie. It is the Accord, a 1-liter bottle. It's also a travel exclusive, so it has some difficulty in purchasing it anywhere else. I did see it online a couple times, but it wasn't really anywhere that was in stock. I paid €59 for this bottle, which isn't really a bad price because it's a 1-liter size. The Larnaca duty-free shop had some interesting bottles there, which was really nice because I didn't find the same kind of selection when we were in Italy just before we went to Egypt. So I felt like I wasn't getting, new whiskeys to give you reviews about, and I held off there as well. This one looked interesting because it is a marriage of bourbon casks and Oloroso Sherry casks, which I tend to like. So I was hoping that my first impression of this was going to be just glorious and wonderful, and it wasn't. As I said, this is a 12-year aged whiskey. I think it's aged in both bourbon barrels and Oloroso Sherry casks, and then they marry the two, which is kind of why the name Accord would be appropriate for it. I don't think it's the best treatment for a whiskey. It is chill filtered and probably has some color added, which are two things I try to avoid, but you can't always, and they really don't affect the flavor that much. It's just one of those, hey, it would be nice if. I also don't like that Glenmorangie did not give a lot of information on their website. In fact, they gave zero information on their website. They have chosen to only show the whiskeys on their website that they're selling through the website, which really is not cool. You really should talk about all your whiskeys, even the ones that you have to go through a duty-free shop to get. So if you're looking for this whiskey, it's going to be hard to find, and I'll take that into consideration as I go for the recommendations. But let me go in for my second ever tasting of this whiskey and tell you what the nosing is like. Now, this is very similar to my experience yesterday. There is a citrus note, there's a little bit of sweetness. I am getting some toffee nose. I'm definitely getting some the malted nose. And the citrus is pretty strong on this whiskey. I think it's an orange citrus. Yeah, and it's very pleasant on the nose. I didn't have a problem with the nose when I tasted it before. Let me go in for the taste again. Now here's where it hit me yesterday. There is a lot of spice. There's a lot of wood spice. There's a lot of spice on the finish. And I'm looking for various notes that would come from either bourbon casks or sherry casks. And I'm getting maybe some of the darker fruits, maybe some raisins, maybe a little bit of like a quick plum note, but then it goes bitter on me. And I'm getting bitter notes right now on the finish, which I was hoping, just because I hadn't drank whiskey in a while, maybe I wasn't appreciating all the depth of flavors that I normally do when I'm drinking whiskey every day and I have a whiskey cabinet behind me. That's all gone. If you don't know why my whiskey cabinet's gone and why I'm in Cyprus and was in Egypt and was in Italy, my wife and I have another YouTube channel that you can check out, the links to below, Finding Jean Marie. We are world travelers now. I gave up my San Francisco apartment. I gave up all my whiskey tier, but it's been a great experience. And that's why it's kind of exciting that I could bring some more information to this channel by not being stuck with only the whiskeys that I could get in the US. Back to the tasting. Yeah, I'm getting some sweet notes, but they're very quick. And then I'm left with this really bitter note on my palate. And very sad because, when you don't own a lot of whiskey because you're traveling all the time, you can't stick this in a suitcase and have them go, yeah, that's fine, you can carry that on the plane. I want something that I can really enjoy for the month that we're in Cyprus. And I thought, well, it's a pretty safe bet to go with Glenmorangie because the only thing I don't love of theirs really is the Lasanta. And I think it's okay, but it's just not my favorite treatment for a whiskey. This is 43% ABV. It tastes a little watered down to me, and maybe that's adding to the bitter or the sour notes. I'm not getting the fruit flavors I normally get from sherry, which makes me wonder if too much of this color comes from the actual added color and not actually from the sherry Oloroso casks. And I'm not even getting some of the vanilla notes that I would normally get from a bourbon cask, which really should be standout in a whiskey that's 12 years old. It should have had some time to age and some time to blend, but that is part of the problem of buying travel exclusives. Sometimes they're really great prices, sometimes they're really wonderful expressions that they've put out there as a limited distribution so that they could, put together some sort of distiller's mix that's really great, but only a few people get to see it. It's kind of nice. The other thing they could be doing is dumping something that really didn't go well and they don't want to put in their mass market distribution network. And it's easier just to go to some travel shops where unsuspecting buyers who might be in an airport like Larnaca with zero internet access. I could not even do a little quick look up and say, what are the reviews of the Accord? No, I had no access to that. So I bought it on the reputation of Glenmorangie, and that's a good reputation for me because they have two whiskeys that I really love. They have the Quinta Reuben, which was my go-to whiskey to have in my cabinet all the time. And they have the Signet, which is one of my favorite high-end whiskeys. So to have a whiskey like this that has a sherry treatment, but I'm not loving, I don't know, maybe I'm not loving sherry treatments from Glenmorangie. I don't know. Yeah, for me, it's a bitter spice. It's like a bad wood spice. Day 2, I thought I'd like this better, but I really don't think I like it. And because I don't have a lot of reference whiskeys, I think my next step is to head to the liquor store in Paphos, which is actually, I think, 400, 500 meters away from me, and see if I can find one of my favorite sherry whiskeys or something that's similar to one of my favorite sherry whiskeys so I can compare against this. So let me know in the comments if that sounds good to you, if you want to see a comparison between this special travel edition and another whiskey that might be more common and on the shelf. I'd love to do that for you. Also, let me know in the comments if you've had this whiskey. Are you a fan of it? Maybe there's some notes I'm missing. Maybe you're not getting the bitterness. Maybe you're not getting the sour wood notes that I'm getting. And maybe I'll find more things I like about this going forward. Right now, my recommendation is it's not a whiskey I would hunt down, even if you're in a travel shop and it's a good price. I just don't think it has the qualities that I look for in a whiskey. It just isn't saying something to me or giving me some special flavor notes that I really love. I mean, I've had 3 or 4 tastes of it now. I tasted it yesterday a few times trying to find something in there that I really like, but I'm just not finding it. There are some fruit notes down under there, but they're just buried under the spice. They're not even cinnamon spice or pepper spice. It's a heavy wood spice. So I'm not sure what Glenmorangie did. I'm not happy with what Glenmorangie did. I think it was a good experiment to try this whiskey, and I'm really happy to be doing reviews again for you. So let me know what you want to see in the future. Let me know if you're interested in some off brands that I haven't been giving you in the past. I think it'd be a good idea to seek out whatever I can find in the country I'm in. And I'm really excited to know that Cyprus has whiskey shops and has a good selection from what I've seen online. So until next time, take care of yourself. Take care of those people around you. And cheers. I'm so sad. Hey, if you're in Cyprus and you want a few bottles of whiskey, I don't think I can drink the ones that I bought here. So let me know if you want a handoff of some whiskey. Cheers.